Hello out there in uncensored radio land. Now, as predicted, the Oprah interview with Meghan Markle and Harry has blown up across the world, and I thought for something special we would reach out across the pond and get some local knowledge in on this. So I have reached out to my lovely friend. Hi Lee, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you, honey. How are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. It'll be daytime when this airs. I think it'll be nighttime in America, daytime in Australia.
It's a rubbish rainy day here in Cirencester, but
so pretty English weather as usual.
Yeah, very English. Very English.
Okay, so let's get straight into the facts. So, obviously, the Harry and Meghan interview has aired all over the world now, and the media is going
the atomic bomb
crazy.
Has dropped.
Exactly. So, the reason I thought I would ask, we want to know what the British public are feeling. And as you said before we got on air, you're British and Irish, so you've got a bit of a mixed bag there. So, what's the general feeling over there at the moment?
Do you know, everyone is completely obsessed with it. I've got to be honest, I've kind of tried to stay away from it for a bit because if I know one thing, you'll never know what the truth is. You know, and there'll be conspiracy theories all over the shop. We never knew what happened with Princess Diana. We won't know with this one, to be honest. I think there's a level of outrage at the audacity. You know, she's come into the royal family. She's decided she didn't like it. She's left and she's taken her prince with her. And then, you know, she's, as I said, she's dropped an atomic bomb on one of the longest establishments in history. But then at the same time, it's quite split. It feels like the royal family are sort of showing their true colours, and I guess there is also a sadness. You know, we've just seen Piers Morgan, who's probably one of the most outspoken broadcasters and journalists. He has actually left the morning show that I think he's been on it for about 5 or 6 years. He's a pain in the ass, but quite often he does say what people are thinking. I think he's probably gone a little bit too far, but yeah, it's all anyone can talk about, which is great because it takes away from COVID, I suppose.
Well, look, you've got to have something to do during COVID instead of, you know, like cancelling Pepe Le Pew and all that kind of stuff. You know, you've got to have something else to do. But I think it's very interesting what you said, that there's these two camps, because it's very much the same over here, and I think it's a generational thing. And what a lot of people who haven't visited the UK don't understand just how much the royal family matters in day-to-day life over there. Like they are like they're the heads of state, for one of their terms.
I mean, it's funny you should say that, because if you think back to the days of Diana, they had no popularity at all, and actually after Diana passed, their popularity plummeted. It's only gotten better, and you know, they've reached new highs of popularity through Wills and Harry. I'd say probably Harry more than Wills, because you know, exactly. Wills is lovely and he's calm, and I think he's going to be a great king. Harry was the one that, you know, my generation could really relate to. And you know, that adds to the sadness. He's not part of the royal family anymore. Well, he's not a senior member of the royal family anymore, and there's a sadness there.
Of course, I think, especially for a public that, as you said, grew up knowing them, and you know, like they are these figureheads. We saw those poor boys following their mother's casket all over the world. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Like,
horrendous.
You can't help but feel like you know them.
Yeah, I know. And you know, I think again, that's the sadness there, is the breakdown in the relationship between the two brothers, because obviously with what they went through, they grew up very close, and that seems to have that doesn't seem to be there anymore, which is very sad. It's very sad from a personal point of view. Do you know what I mean? For two brothers to break down because of what's going on, you know, in any family would be harsh. To have this lived out on TV in front of millions of people, horrendous.
Yeah. So let's jump into it because there was a lot of bombs dropped, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't think she just dropped bombs, I think she scorched the earth. Like
Yeah, I think
she
she did.
went
I think she did.
I think she knew. Yeah, she knew that if she was going out, she was going to take him down.
Yeah.
So probably the most shocking thing for everyone was the conversation about Archie's skin color when he
Yeah.
was on the way. I
Yeah.
Racism is a big word to throw around, but it's not an uncommon word associated with the senior royals, really, is it?
No, not at all. I mean, if you imagine this society has been founded on a class structure, that was how it was founded. So it's elitist as determined and entrenched by its very foundation. Um, I'll be honest. I do believe that comment was probably made by a senior royal. My friends and I discussed this, and we were kind of like, well, what if it was one of the royals who just made a very flippant comment? I wonder if he'll have a good tan. Do you know what I mean? We've all been guilty of making crass jokes and comments. I don't know. I wouldn't want to guess who it was, but I would believe that was probably not so much a confirmed concern, more of a, I mean, the colour of his skin could be an issue.
I
You
think,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
I think,
Which,
yeah.
as his mother, would be horrendous to hear.
Yeah, especially with we'll get more into Meghan in a second, but
Yeah,
I think the other really major thing that came out of the interview was the disregard, again, for want of a better word, of the concerns around Meghan's mental health. Now, I've had a couple of arguments with people going, well, what, she could have just gone privately and da 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 da. But again, a lot of people don't understand that
mental
appearance is
health.
everything. Appearance is everything to the Windsors. Do you know what I mean?
Perception is reality. Yeah, someone said to me years ago, perception is actually reality. And you know, I didn't like the guy, but he was right on the money. Perception is reality. Now, I think you've got to be very careful when you're talking about mental health and when you're giving an opinion on mental health. I've suffered very badly over many years with my mental health, so I understand it. There's no doubt in my mind that her mental health deteriorated as a because of the position she was in. She found herself as a biracial woman in a very elitist organization. For people to bandy the term "I don't believe her," that's a very dangerous statement.
Exactly.
It should not have happened. Unfortunately, I think she's disliked enough for people not to take her seriously. My advice would be, when someone is opening up about their mental health, you take them seriously. Whether you believe them or not, you take it seriously, because it's a very dangerous thing to say, "I don't believe you," because then you might be right, she might be lying. But what about a friend of yours that is suffering with mental health? You've just shut them down. They won't come to you. So I believe her in that sense. I think she probably did struggle, and I think she probably thought, "I can't do this. What's the point?" I've been there. So I think it was brave of her. Certainly brave to do it in front of so many people. If she is struggling with mental health, that was a very brave move.
Look, and as you said, I don't think it's down. I don't think the conversation is down for anyone to say whether they believe her or not. That's not the point. The
No,
point is that she voiced the concern and it was shut down in
it was
whatever
shut
way
down
it was shut down.
immediately. Yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't even considered. It's like, yeah,
she wasn't open with that until she was gone out of that.
Yeah.
That's not something I don't think people understand. And again, this is why I wanted to talk to someone who, you know, is British and Irish and has a different viewpoint. The royal family is not just the Queen. She is not the be all and end all. She's the spokesperson. She's the, like, do you know what I mean? She's the figurehead of a bigger. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I think she is a decision maker. She's a very strong, stoic woman. You know, from an Irish point of view, when it came down to the Troubles and the peace process, she was instrumental in bringing in the peace process. So she knows her mind, and I think she's done what she can to move with the times. But ultimately, you know, they're behind the times.
Exactly, and I don't doubt that she knows her mind, but I think my point more is she's not going to be swayed from something that she doesn't believe in.
No,
by anyone. So obviously there is enough pressure, whether it be in her mind or from senior royals or these. I have a lot of issue with the royal commentators over there that, you know, are famous by association, and their whole world exists for, you know, having a foot in the door with the royals, so they can't ever say anything against them. It's just like it is big. It is bigger than one person, but she is the focal point, and she speaks for them. I guess is my point.
Yeah.
All right. You did touch on it before, the relationship between William and Harry, but I think everyone is more shocked about the relationship breakdown between Charles and Harry. Now, what Harry has said is that his father has blocked him and that they're no longer communicating. Again, we don't know both sides of the story, and I doubt we ever will.
No.
What do you make of that?
I don't, if I'm completely honest, I think Harry should have probably kept that detail to himself, because he's put out there now that the relationship between his father is strained. And I think being fair, I mean, Charles is in his 70s now. He's old school, and you don't air your dirty laundry. And I think he will take, I don't know, can they mend that relationship? I'm not sure. I think once you start telling the world about your problems, I mean, I know my mum's the same. She is a firm believer that you don't air your dirty laundry. At the end of the day, Charles is a father, and you should never walk away from your children. Harry's been through enough with the death of his mother, and, you know, being up on stage to grieve for his mother. I think that's down to a personal opinion. I think do you know what, Steve? That's a tricky one to answer. I would never walk away from my child, but you don't know what goes on behind the scenes. You watch the breakdown of her and her father, and it feels like they're trying to distance themselves from everybody, but put the blame at their parents' door.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's my perception. I could be completely wrong.
You could, and I think that this conversation did come up again today. There's always been that that rumor and that air of doubt about Harry's actual lineage and whether, you know, whether he is Charles's son.
You know what? I'd say years ago, 100%, he looked the image of Hewitt. I think he's starting to develop those similarities to his father. I'm convinced he's a Windsor.
That male pattern baldness is obviously genetic, you know.
I know. You can't get away from it.
You can't get away from the creep. But we were talking about Harry and William, but I think the dynamic that everyone is very interested in is the dynamic of William and Kate versus Harry and Meghan. And there's these two camps.
Yeah.
I think you should go first.
I think, do you know what? I think you have to look at the world that Kate was brought up in, and the world in which she grew up, versus the world in which Meghan grew up, worlds apart. So you could say that, you know, Kate's family are very middle class, She was almost at the point, the transition from Kate, William's girlfriend, to Duchess of, I can't remember what one they are now.
She's Cambridge.
That's it. She was born into it, really. Her mother is quite. I think her mother had designs on her becoming Will's wife before they were even born. She would have mixed in those circles already. She would have had a very good image and experience of how a royal is supposed to act. It would have taken the royal family just a couple of lessons with Kate. Meghan, totally different, completely. It would have been a world she had no knowledge or expertise in, and I don't believe she got the help and support. That said, you've got about 10 to 15 people at the moment queuing up to say she made their life miserable. So again, who do you believe?
Exactly, and you can't. And she said it, I think, herself. Just because you like me, you don't have to hate Kate. Just because you hate Kate, you don't have to like me. There is room in the world for everyone. But the press just seem to want to have, Kate is the good child. Meghan's the evil one.
The way the press have reported on the two of them is it's criminal. It is absolutely criminal. That said, I don't think Meghan did herself any favors with some of the stunts that she pulled. So, for example, going to Wimbledon, a quintessentially British event, she went to Wimbledon, cleared one side for her. There was 6 or 7 friends. She cleared one side of Wimbledon. Now, people queue to go to Wimbledon every year, and she got rid of that one side of the court. And then she had her minder say to someone, "Can you not take photographs of Meghan?" She wasn't taking photographs of Meghan. She was taking photographs of the tennis players. So Meghan came in and she set herself aside there. And I think it probably was not long after that, the way that the press reporter took a turn. She didn't do herself any favors on that one.
I think that might also come from the fact that she was a celebrity in the States. Do you know what I mean? She has that. I think she had a preconceived notion of who she was going into the British family, and it doesn't necessarily translate. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. That Hollywood celebrity doesn't translate to being a princess, for want of a better word.
No, it doesn't. Not even slightly. It doesn't come anywhere close.
But so we did briefly touch on it. I just can't help but think, and I've mentioned this on the show before, that a lot of the problem is the color of her skin and the fact that she's a foreigner and she doesn't play the game. Kate plays the game to a T. Do you know what I mean? She is straight up and down. She's straight up and down a royal. Like, she has no doubt. Meghan is playing her own game, and that doesn't play well with the palace.
That's an interesting point. Is the problem that she's biracial, or is it a symptom of the problem? I would go as far as saying I think it's a symptom of the problem. I think the problem is Meghan herself. And, I'll be honest, I don't like Meghan, but I'm not a huge fan of the royal family either. I think that, they're coming from completely different sides, and they're clashing massively. I think, do you know what? We're in a world at the moment where racial discrimination is such a prominent subject.
And this is exactly why I wanted to bring it up, because what is the feeling over there at the moment? Because I know I feel like the Americans sometimes think that they've got the laneway on racism. It's like, oh no, we don't racism's an American problem. Racism is a worldwide problem. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And trust me, the Brits have the same problem. They're just a little bit more discreet about it. And instead of being quite openly racist, it'll be the occasional dig, very subtle and discreet dig here and there. But believe me, the problems are there. And I think there's a lot of people thinking that Meghan's playing the race card, and rightly so. There have been racial undertones, certainly. I don't think it's the problem, because when she was first announced as Harry's girlfriend, the public loved her. The public were delighted to see Harry meet someone and fall in love. I think it was the way she came in. This is, I'm not playing your game.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened. And the racial issues started after then. So I don't think race is the problem. I think it's symptomatic.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah. So they pinpointed their trip to Australia as being a really big turning point, because the senior royals back home saw exactly how good Meghan could be at the job. When she was over here, the place went crazy for her.
Yeah.
And Harry said I think it might have reminded them a bit too much of past times.
Yeah.
And she's, unlike Diana, who was a wild card. This girl's a loose cannon. Do you know what I mean? Will.
Yeah. Whatever can be said about Diana. Now, my mum met Diana a few times, and she was graceful. She was kind. In truth, there's really nothing bad you can say about Diana. She tried to play the game. She tried to be, the princess. But let's not forget, she was very much in competition with another woman. That leaves you, you're leading a very isolated life then, when you know that your husband is in love with someone else. But as part of the royal family, you can do nothing about it except be seen to be playing the game. Meghan didn't play the game, and she certainly didn't pretend to play the game, and she was upfront and personal. I'm not playing the game, and that's the difference. They're two very different people. And Princess Diana was warm and kind and just bloody lovely. Meghan, not so much. I find her very cold, and you try not to read everything about her. Certainly, if you look at the Daily Mail, I know you look at. I used to look at it in Australia. It's very, very pro royal family. So you'll never get any of them saying a nice word about Meghan. Most of the papers are now very anti Meghan. You won't find any publication that's neutral. But my perception of her, if I'm completely honest, from the very beginning, I didn't find her a very warm person. Totally unlike Diana.
Look, I think that is a fair point. Again, she comes from that celebrity world where there has to be a veneer of, like, not unlike the royals, like the senior royals, there has to be that veneer of untouchableness. Do you know what I mean? That's not even a word, but that veneer.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I wonder if what she was experiencing then manifested itself as outward coldness as well.
Well, as in like a protection, as in
she's shutting down. She's like a self-preservation thing. Like, when people go through traumatic experiences, PTSD, your body will do things to protect you. Maybe that maybe, I don't know. I'm just hypothesizing on that one.
Yeah, but, no, it's a valid point, and I think, I don't know. I always say you should never judge someone until you've been in their shoes, and I try to do that. But I don't think it's possible. I think everybody, they have that snap judgment, and they might, reprimand themselves for it. But her family background, her sister trying to sell the story from the word go, it just felt like there was too much drama in her life, and I thought, this isn't going to work. This is a car crash for the royal family.
And we know they should stay away from those car crashes.
I know.
Let's be honest.
I know. As soon as I said it, I thought that's a wrong thing.
Welcome to Uncensored Radio. You've popped your cherry. All right, so we're just going to talk about the palace's response. Now, it did take a little while for the response, so I'm going to put it up on the screen. It reads: "The whole family is saddened to learn the full extent of how challenging the last few years have been for Harry and Meghan. Issues raised, particularly that of race, are concerning. While some recollections may vary, they are taken very seriously and will be addressed by the family privately. Harry, Meghan, and Archie will always be much loved family members."
I mean, I've got 2 words: Prince Andrew. Do you know what I mean? If they can keep Prince Andrew in the fold, and I think it was very disappointing when the first snippets were coming out, and there was claims of bullying by Meghan. The palace were very quick to say, we're going to investigate this. There has been no such statement about Prince Andrew, and so much worse.
And yeah,
the statement was never going to be descriptive. It was never going to be anything but short and to the point, and it actually says nothing. Let's be honest, it says nothing. And I think that was the complete expectation of anybody. Doesn't matter what the palace says, it's going to be short and to the point and full of bullshit.
Well, that was part of the reason it took so long, is that the Queen did not want to stress too much concerns and emotionality. Again, not really a word.
Yeah. I don't think she wanted to labour the point or give any more meat to the bones. But ultimately, it was a statement that said nothing. And nobody ever expects anything else from the royal family. You know, it comes back to being that level of untouchableness.
We like that word.
We do. Whatever they said in that statement can't be thrown back at them because the statement says nothing.
Very carefully chosen words. And I had this conversation today. I think it was very easy for the palace to have, and still is, for the palace to have Meghan as a scapegoat and a focal point, because without her and Harry, they have to look at themselves, and they have to look at Andrew, and they have to look at Prince Philip, and they have to look at all this stuff that, you know, they've had this rehab of after Diana's death, and probably, as you said, when Harry and William have grown up, they've had this reputation rehab, and it was kind of like new royals. The royals were back in vogue and everything. Everyone forgets that Charles wasn't that good a dude back in the day.
No,
do you know what I mean?
He really wasn't.
But
surprisingly, Camilla, I think, has actually softened him. And as much as everyone hated Camilla, she's made them more palatable.
Exactly. Like, I noticed last time I was over there, there is a genuine warmth around conversations of these, especially when it was the 4 of them together, the young royals, youngish. There was a lot of warmth, a lot of hope, a lot of like feeling
really
that the institution was moving forward. Do you know what I mean? The institution that had remained stagnant for hundreds of years. The protocols don't change.
190 years, I think.
They were moving forward, and now you've just got to ask yourself: is this another turning point for the royal family? How do they recover from this?
Oh, can they recover from it, I think, is the question, Steve.
Exactly.
I think, I mean, the memes that were going around on Facebook and Insta about the Queen doing her Christmas speech, and it's like, right, where the fuck do I begin?
I've seen some great stuff. I've seen some great Insta and stuff. It's amazing.
People are hilarious. Can they recover? But the thing is, I think the Queen is very highly respected. Got to be honest, I do respect her myself. But
look, it can't be an easy job. It can't be an easy job, and she's done it her entire life, and it must be a very lonely existence. For her, because she has to toe the line.
And she does it very admirably, I think. But when you've got Prince Andrew, who has just made he's a disgrace of a man. And you know, he was another person who went on air and did an interview that wasn't signed off by the palace, and it was, again, car crash. Can't believe I'm using that again. I just think the only people who can save the royal family, and I think it is possible, is Wales and Kate, because they are classy, they are genuinely good people, and I think he's is a duplicate of the Queen. You know, his father, I don't think will be a good king. Will's, I think, will be. He's got that. How can I say it? He's stoic. He's a decision maker. He's been well groomed by the Queen for the the job of being a king.
I think the major thing is he doesn't seem untouchable. Do you know what I mean?
He doesn't. I mean, Kate.
Very much like his mother. Like,
yeah,
even the way he speaks, he has that softness. He has that warmth that we were talking about. He has that.
Yeah.
I've seen them on TV shows, like cooking. I've seen them on a cooking show together. Do you know what I mean? They're not above. They're not above the rest.
He's the people's king. Yeah. And Kate, I think, is. I mean, Gary, my boyfriend. I think Kate might be at the top of his cheat list.
Gary, keep it in your pants, please.
I know, right? People do love her. I think she's very warm, and I think she aspires to be Princess Diana, but I don't think anyone will ever be Princess Diana. And you know, they're very, what's the word? They're reserved and they're classy, and people have faith in them to run the country. But it would have been nice to keep Harry in the fold, because he brought the humour and the boy next door image to the royal family, and now it's kind of imploded. So it's either Kate and Wills will probably save it, but how much longer can the royal family go on for? It's based on the popularity of the country, and its popularity is plummeting right now.
I think you'll see. I think well, look, she is an older woman. We have to come to terms that her time will end, and I don't think I don't think that she will succeed. I think she will be on that throne till her very last breath. My doubt is that the thing I'm doubtful is that Charles will ever be king. I feel like
I don't think so, and I don't think
so either.
No. He's a nice guy, but he's a bit of a bumbler. Whereas Will's is forthright. He knows what the country needs. So I agree with you.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shot in the arm. But the whole situation, again, it goes back to a line that I heard in the trailer for The Crown, which I know is a fictional show, but I feel like there's a lot more truth there than what we know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were talking about Diana, and the line said something along the lines of she'll bend, like her time will come, she'll bend. And then someone said, what if she doesn't bend? Who is it? Who plays Princess Margaret? Helena Bonham Carter. She simply looks and says, she'll break. She'll break. So
yeah,
I don't. The thing is, I can't see Meghan breaking. I think that she wouldn't bend. A tougher stone.
She wouldn't bend.
Exactly.
And do you know what? Do you know what's absolutely Paul? It's her life. You only get one bite of the cherry. If that's not what she wants, then fair play to them for stepping away and moving away. She just didn't have to be so vocal about it. She didn't have to be. And do you know, there's been announcements by the palace, and then there'll come an announcement by her, and it will have a little barbed comment in every single. And I just think, you know, have your issues. Don't be so public about it.
Has to stop.
Yeah.
Look, I think
she would never
moving forward.
Yeah.
Moving forward, it's probably, and I could see a world in which this will resolve itself, and I can't imagine them being part of the royal family proper, but I can imagine I can see those, especially the relationship between the brothers. I can see that mending with time.
Listen, Steve,
you know, it happens.
If we can get to a point where Prince Charles can actually marry Camilla, trust me, they can do anything else, because that was, you know, 30 years ago, never would have happened ever. It happened, and it's done wonders for the royal family. Trust me, if that can happen, anything can happen.
Exactly. And I guess that's a positive way to leave things today. I think it's been a super it's been very interesting to watch this unfold, and it will keep unfolding, I'm sure. Apparently there's a whole hour and a half of the interview that hasn't been aired, so I'm sure apparently that's more to do with Meghan's family and her issues there, and that's probably you know, better left unsaid, because those people, if you thought the royal family was bad, have a look at her family. But
I know.
I guess now that the bomb, we've just got to wait for the dust to settle. Again, like after Diana's death, there was that period of where do they go? What happens next? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it took time.
It was very sad, because my mum really did love Diana. She met her a few times. And Diana died actually the day that my mum married my stepdad. So it was, you know, it was tinged with sadness that day. So, but yeah, I just bring back Diana. That's what I say. God love her.
Be very interesting to see what she thinks of her two daughters-in-law.
Yeah,
they're like opposite sides of the coin, really, aren't they?
Meghan, to start with, I don't think she'd be very sad at what's going on right now. It's her boys, her family is imploding, and it would break her heart. It would break any mother's heart.
It would. But I think that was, again, we were talking about the strength of the four of them together. That was the strength, that they were different. They were bringing those differences towards the royal family. So we can, I guess, we can only hope, even if it's just for them, that those wounds can heal, and you know, everyone can move on.
I think they will. I think, you know, when Meghan and Harry stop doing photo opportunities and stop bringing the cameras with them to things like the laying of the wreath, they'll win their popularity back again. But until they stop doing stupid stunts like that, they're not going to do themselves any favors.
And we know everything changes when there's a new royal baby anyway, so they've got a little one on the way, so that could be it.
My nephew was born yesterday. A baby brings...
Congratulations!
Yeah, little Connor Matthew.
Congratulations.
Thank you. He's full of red now. Just a little Irishman.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time, my dear. It is wonderful to see you.
It's lovely to see you. And listen, when you're in the UK who are you coming to see next time? Is it Steps?
Well, I was going to be coming. Look, I'll probably just end up at your house again.
Probably. We'll get you good and drunk again.
There's more stories there, uncensored fans. I will tell them one day, but I think we've got to remember them first, don't we? It was a big evening.
I know.
I just remember leaving your house at like 5:45 in the morning. Like, I've got to be on a bus to London in 7 o'clock.
I know. I don't know how you did that. And I do apologise profusely for putting you into that shocking state of a hangover. But it's, you know, I'm Irish. It's what we do.
That's what we do.
Listen,
thank you so much, my love.
And I'll see you soon.
Bye,
darling. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.